Prince's last Diddy recording played in trial.
As soon as Prince's voice started, Diddy's expression changed completely. His calm and confident look vanished. Everyone in the courtroom froze silent as the late singer's words filled the room. This surprise recording left everyone in shock. On the third day of the trial, a shocking new piece.
Cassie said he would get physical. That one male guy who did things with Diddy and Cassie said he witnessed him get physical. Don. So again, we talked about how the domestic charges aren't, what he's being, what he's on trial for. But boy, it's stacking up. And I feel that the jury is going to take that into consideration.
The first Diddy party I went to was at Prince's house. So you want to go to Prince's house to the Diddy party where Tyrese is performing and Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher are swinging on swings. That is what's happening on the other side of the wall. And so the one thing that makes this party different than a Jamie Foxx party or any other celebrity party that wrangles a bunch of young women or guys or whatever too, is that Diddy.
The third day of the trial began just like the others. Reporters rushed to secure good seats, celebrities slipped in through side doors, and lawyers organized their papers as usual. But there was a different feeling in the air that morning. The jury room wasn't just full, it was tense. Everyone sensed something big was about to unfold. Security was stronger than before. Guards stood in every corner, and 4 officers were stationed right behind Diddy's table, something that hadn't happened on previous days. A court staff member later said they had special orders, but no one knew why. Diddy entered calmly, wearing a sharp navy suit. He smiled at his supporters and appeared confident. His legal team gathered close, whispering strategies. He seemed in control, but he didn't notice what was happening at the prosecution table. 2 tech experts set up equipment that hadn't been used before.
Already, I'm really trying to connect the dots here and think like, damn, what if Prince was what if he caught wind of some, I'll just say allegedly, stuff that Diddy might have been doing that seems to be, like, I ain't talking about consensual things, I'm talking about illegal things or whatever. But I'm just like, would Diddy be that dumb to not think that Prince, this celebrity, has cameras in his house as well? So I'm just trying to think, because if Prince has cameras and he's recording stuff, to get some dirt on Diddy, I don't know. I feel like Diddy, with all his cameras that he allegedly had, or no, they actually found cameras.
Problems?
That I don't know, right? What I know is that he was really health conscious. He was a vegan. He didn't abuse alcohol. I didn't know of him abusing drugs. He worked out, so, that also really concerned me because it made me think that, wow, so you mean you do all these things to take care of yourself and you die so young?
They checked cables and whispered to the lead prosecutor, who kept watching Diddy. It was clear that something important was coming, a reporter said. People were texting across the room, trying to guess what the surprise would be. When the judge entered, he gave a clear warning. No matter what evidence is presented today, everyone must remain calm. Anyone causing a disturbance will be removed. The prosecution started by reviewing past testimonies. Then suddenly, the lead prosecutor paused. Your Honor, we would like to present audio evidence that our forensic team has just verified. She held up a small device. The defense objected, saying they hadn't been notified, but the judge allowed it. Then came the moment that changed everything. This is the last private recording Prince made.
One of those testimonies where you have no choice but to pay attention and almost be flabbergasted, obviously, at some of what you're hearing, because it's not only just insight into somebody's sex life, but the details are disturbing at times, especially during that prosecution testimony when we saw some of the alleged abuse, or we saw pictures of her after a beating of some kind, according to her. But the jurors are definitely paying attention. I don't see anyone that's not keeping their focus on Cassie Ventura, and also I noticed them taking notes a lot of times.
And the children, as they were exiting court yesterday, 2 of the girls were seen crying. How emotional have they been in court?
Again, I cannot imagine if that was my father or somebody close to me up there and having to hear details of their sex life. Those are young women. They lost their mother, one of them, the twins. So no one can probably quite understand what it is that they're going through, but I think that's something that you think about on both sides, you know, to look at Alex Fine, which is Cassie Ventura's husband, and think about him having to listen to all that's being said about the type of woman that Cassie Ventura was versus the person that's expecting, you know, their third child together now. So whether it's Combs's family or Ventura's family that's there to support her, her brother and her husband, Alex Fine, I think it's difficult on both sides. I've seen him taking notes from the beginning. I see him put his glasses on. He gets very close to the screen when they're reading some of those text messages. So he's paying attention.
Now, Ventura confirmed that she and Combs had conversations about a swingers lifestyle, but that the freak-offs, they were very different.
Yeah, so she talked about this idea where I guess Combs wanted her to watch him have sex with another woman. She said that happened 2 or 3 times, but that he mentioned it frequently.
Kim Porter came up today in testimony. What was the significance there?
The defense said early on that this case would be about infidelity, love, and jealousy. And this is where they brought that up today when they brought up Kim Porter's name. The defense asked Cassie Ventura, are you jealous or were you jealous of Kim Porter? And Ventura sort of contemplated, but did get to this moment where she said, knowing that Combs spent holidays with his family, which meant with Porter, did bother her. And she admitted that. They also pointed out that there was testimony where she talked about being insanely jealous overall as a girlfriend. So, yeah.
We're hearing the judge wants Cassie off the stand tomorrow. Will the prosecution and the defense get equal time?
Yeah, as long as there aren't any additional motions, I think that is the goal, to have her off the stand by tomorrow.
Why do you think that? What's the reasoning behind wanting her off the stand tomorrow?
In the very beginning, Rachel, they told us that she would likely be on that stand 2 to 3 days. So
The prosecutor stood up and said, "What you're about to hear was found in Prince's private vault." Whispers filled the room. People leaned forward, and journalists typed quickly on their phones. This wasn't just any evidence. It was Prince speaking from beyond the grave. She explained that the recording was made just weeks before Prince passed away in 2016. This was never meant for the public, she said. Prince recorded it to protect himself, sharing what he had seen. As Prince's voice filled the room, a woman in the 3rd row covered her mouth and started to cry. It wasn't just hearing him again, it was how he sounded. His voice was soft, worried, very different from his stage presence. "I'm recording. This because I don't know who to trust anymore," he began. His breaths were clear. This was not a performance. It was honest and raw. The atmosphere shifted. Prince started naming names, dates, and places. He spoke about events at Diddy's homes in Miami and the Hamptons, the same ones previous witnesses had mentioned.
I wasn't really taking large advances from the recording companies. I was recording the albums myself in my own studio. So the way I looked at it, I owned the work because I paid for it. And I did all the work. I created it, so I felt like it should belong to me. That said, the companies felt otherwise. And they would always hold this contract up and say, well, you signed it. And I say, well, I understand that. It's not like I want to leave. I just want to, talk about this thing and see if we can't make it more fair. Of course, they wouldn't change, because if they changed, they wouldn't really exist. And that's kind of the situation we're in right today. They're not going to exist much longer. But it's not like we're against them or anything like that. The idea is that we find better ways of working with one another. It shouldn't be a situation where they own the album or the work. We're talking about intellectual copyright. If they're going to be indeed a delivery service, then that's fine. But Even FedEx doesn't say that they own the thing that they ship.
Cassie Ventura on the witness stand for a fourth day in the federal criminal trial against hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The defense continuing cross-examination this morning, confronting her with dozens of her own messages, many explicit, hoping to convince the jury she was an eager sexual partner who matched Combs's desires. "I'm always ready to freak off," one message said.
She was into the freak offs herself and was like a willing participant and was into all the freaky stuff, and essentially that was the crux of what they were trying to do yesterday.
And do you think they proved that or not?
I mean, there's texts like that from 2009. I'm always ready to freak off. There was some other texts where she was referencing like hitting him up about the FOs, is what they were referring to him. To me, like, yes, this doesn't look good, but at the same time, I think the timeline is crucial here. And these are texts from 2009, man. That was when they were first getting in the relationship. She was young. Obviously, they were in the honeymoon stage, and she was stoked to like, oh my God, I'm with Diddy. I'm living this lavish lifestyle. Of course, she's going to be saying things that she knows will curry favor with.
I watched Diddy's face change. His confidence vanished. His lawyer leaned in to talk to him, but Diddy stared ahead, frozen. Prince's tone grew sharper. "What happens at these parties isn't just wrong. It's illegal," he said. "I've seen what goes on. I know. Who's involved? I've seen people get hurt." Each word hit Diddy hard. Prince even described a December 2015 party, naming celebrities who had denied being there. He mentioned rooms upstairs, matching the prosecution's earlier claims. The courtroom fell silent. Even the judge leaned in. When Prince said he warned Diddy and was told to keep quiet, the prosecutor paused.